next pattern, we're going to be working with the square grid, and this time polygons, three-sided polygons or triangles. And I've added a fillet dimension here. Square grid, polygon, similar to how you've kind of done these before. But what we're going to be doing with these triangular geometries is we're going to set them so they begin to rotate kind of in sequence. So what I have here is the rotate tool, which you're going to find under transform Euclidean, there's rotate, and I've connected it to the polygon shape. And what you can see here, when I click on the original polygons, there they are in green. And what it's done is it's rotated the whole set about 1 point. So what we want is for each one of these to rotate about its intersection. So we'll need to add some more to this script to make that work. So before getting into the business about which ones are affected, I'm going to start to add some information about the rotation. So I have here a range component and a construct domain component. I also have this one called radians, which will allow us to work within degrees and make the conversion to radians, which is what Grasshopper is looking for. So I'll start to plug these in. And then this is going to go to the angle. So you can start to see that the angle is appearing. Maybe what I'll do is turn the preview off for the original triangle so you can kind of get a better idea. You can also turn off the preview for the grid. Okay. Now, for the rotation domain, the start point, we want it to be 0, but the end point wants to be 360 degrees. So I'm going to change that value. Okay, so that would allow me to do a full rotation. Okay, now again, everything is still operating off of this corner point, and we'll make that change shortly. In terms of steps, this value probably wants to be increased too, but we'll deal with that a little bit later. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use an area tool to help us reset the rotation point about the center of these triangles on their grid intersections. So I'm going to connect here. Now you can see the points appeared. And I'm also going to connect in here for that rotation plane. So you can see now when I enact this kind of rotation script, everything should stay where they are with the exception of their orientation to those centroid points. All right, now I'm going to shift this, and you can see that we're still not getting exactly the full rotation. And what's happening is we're getting some duplicity that will fix by bringing this value down. But what we need to do here, as we did with the previous one, is to flatten the tree, which basically will allow each unit to act individually. And we're going to connect it in here. It's going to be kind of in place of that direct connection. All right, so now, okay, I think the full reason we weren't getting that full rotation is because this did not stretch all the way to 360. So we wanted to go from 0 to 360. So each one should be incrementally rotating until there's a full 360-degree rotation, right? And as far as the steps go, we need it to be as many as there are. So if I were to increase the number of rows and columns, you can see these new ones are not following that rotation. And I have now more than, if I maximize this, I have more than 20 of them in here. So what I need to do is increase this value. I can bring it over the number that I have, but then I need to come up here and get to that same number. Let's see, how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, there's 8. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 56. So actually I needed to go more or drop this down to a smaller number of the triangles, right? So somewhere in there, we're going to find a balance of them where there's full rotation, but not that duplicate appearing here. So we should have a slight rotation happening going up one increment at a time. Okay, so that is the rotation of triangles. And, you know, you could play with these. I wanted to use triangles just so it would be a little bit more visible, but, you know, if you change the polygon shape, maybe it still is visible, that increment, and you can play around with, I added the fillet, you know, I don't think you want to go too big or too small on that one. So somewhere that shows a rounded corner, and you can play around with the size of the grid and the effect of the spacing between them that would be affected by that. I'm going to bring this back down, maybe 2 squares. The title here is triangles, but you can perhaps ignore that or change it, rotation of however many sides you have. I better, for the purposes of this assignment, I'm going to bring it back down to triangles as I had started. You're welcome to make some changes to that